Hey there, it's me, Red Knight, and welcome back to my channel for another Heyday video. Now today's video is for the Valley. We're heading off to Saudi Arabia this time. We got a wonderful decoration and some interesting information. So let's get on to the Valley. Now what is it going to be? Well, it's a chicken valley. I don't like this one personally, but it is popular with some of you out there because you can get tokens, you can blow things up, you can get rewards, and you can enjoy yourself by trying to get some cool things. Now what you have to do is move around the actual map itself, hunting for the elusive chicken. Once you find a chicken, you collect him, and when you get a certain amount of chickens, you can get some nice rewards. Now as you do drive around, you'll be servicing the buildings. Now the buildings are around the board and they require specific items. If you do those buildings, you get lots of tokens. The tokens add up. You can then buy some nice items in the shop and or save them for some of the main prizes. Now what are the usual main prizes? Well, there's usually diamonds. So if you are so inclined you want to get the diamonds, then please do so. There's usually about 30 diamonds up for grabs there, and if that's your cup of tea, then choose that as an option. Next choice you have down there usually relates to boosters. Now boosters can be very handy indeed, and the boosters within the actual rewards are very nice for some of you. Why not collect those if you are focusing on this? So diamonds, boosters, the choice is yours. Now for myself, I'm more interested in decoration, and it is this one here. I love the design. I think that's going to look fantastic in my collection. And what I'm going to do now is to introduce this deco to you and give you a little bit of a historical lesson that relates to it. So for this actual decoration, we're heading on to Saudi Arabia, and we're going to visit the tomb of Lian, son of Kuza. You can see an actual picture there of one of the tombs that are actually located in this area. And reading the Smithsonian page on this one, I found a lot of interesting facts. I'm going to share some of that information with you. Now first of all, the tomb of Lian, son of Kuza is also known as Qaza al-Farid, or the Lonely Castle, and it's a well-known and iconic tomb in Madana in Salih Hegra in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a place I'd love to visit, and if I'm there I'd like to go and visit this location because the actual historical aspect of everything that's there is interesting indeed. Now, the structure is said to have been erected in the 1st century and is unmatched when it comes to ancient design and architecture. Moreover, it was also the first Saudi site to be declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the location seems very cool. Next one, despite its famous description as a lonely castle, the site is not at all a castle, rather it's designed entirely as a tomb. From the carvings and inscriptions inside the tomb, you can tell a lot about the Nabatean culture, and that's what I'm actually going to be talking quite a lot about within the actual set of slides I'm going to go through here. Really interesting, I must admit. The tomb is chiseled out of the rock from the top down, which is an old Nabatean architectural technique and a major part of Nabatean roots. Now, having the actual pickaxe coming down from the top downwards was actually a good idea for the Heyday team. So I have a strong feeling that somebody in the team actually did look into this information as well before they created this design. So well done, team. A visit to the site offers great insight into the culture and religion of these ancient Arabic nomads. It offers a lesson that we can learn from the history of previous perished nations. And if you actually visit the location and you do get the chance to have a look in some of the tombs, you will find a lot of information throughout the ages as a historical aspect for this location. However, not a lot is known. Even though the architecture of this tomb is unrivaled, it appears that the entire structure was never completed, and I wonder why. Towards the base of the tomb, the craftsmanship is not as precise, which can be observed rather clearly. So what is the reason for not finishing this? Was it never used, or maybe it was needed sooner before it was finished? Trying to get information is not so easy on that side. Still one of the most iconic places in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and a place to reflect on the history and the lesson we can learn from the past. Now, I must admit, though, I have actually had a few people from Saudi Arabia say to me, okay, I don't know this place. One reason it's not actually been open to everybody for a long time. It's a relatively new place to go and visit, especially now that it's been opened up more to the public. Mostly originally it was down to Saudi Arabian people, but now it's open to more international people, which makes it a good place to go and check out. Now, the Nabateans are arguably one of the most enigmatic and intriguing civilizations that many have never heard of before. Exactly. However, as a Western person, we did get to see it in a very famous movie. The Nabateans were desert-dwelling nomads turned master merchants, controlling the incense and spice trade routes through Arabia and Jordan to the Mediterranean, Egypt, Syria, and Mesopotamia. Oh, I hope I got it right. Mesopotamia. That's right. Okay. As a result of this, I would assume that they actually became very rich, which is nothing unusual when you are able to control certain routes. So camel-driven caravans laden with piles of fragrant peppercorn, ginger root, sugar and cotton pass through Hegra, a provincial city in the kingdom's southern frontier. Yeah, exactly. I like the sound of all of that, though. Could have been interesting. Okay. The Nabateans also became the suppliers of aromatics such as frankincense and myrrh that were highly prized in religious ceremonies. That's true, actually. When you look at a lot of the religious ceremonies that have gone on in the past, and even now, there are some key items for it. And it's interesting to see or learn about what made this culture, these people, very rich and prosperous. So the Nabateans prospered from the 4th century BC until the 1st century AD, when the expanding Roman Empire annexed and subsumed their huge swath of land, which included modern-day Jordan, Egypt, Sinai Peninsula, and parts of Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Syria. Wow, okay. They certainly had a lot of areas to govern there. Gradually, the Byzantine identity was lost entirely, forgotten by the West for centuries. Petra was rediscovered by Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt in 1812, though local Bedouin tribes have been living in the caves and tombs for generations. Now that surprised me, because some of the tombs actually have curses on them. Perhaps it could be said that Petra was truly seen by most Westerners for the first time a century and a half later, thanks to its starring role as the set for the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade in 1988. Like I told you, we knew it was famous for a specific movie. Why not watch the movie and then you can see in more detail? The challenge with getting to know the Nabateans is they left behind so little first-hand history. It's true. With the immense popularity of Petra today, it's hard to imagine that we don't know much about its creators. Imagine a whole civilization. You've got something that's left behind and you don't know much about them. I wonder as a world we will leave much behind us when we move on. History is important, and leaving a mark is very important indeed. Most of what we've learned about the Nabateans comes from documents of outsiders, the ancient Greeks, Romans and Egyptians. So, please do start saving your own history. Don't let it be destroyed or hidden. But thank God there are others outside of a culture that are happy to record and save information. Like Petra, Hegra is a metropolis turned necropolis. Most of the remaining structures that can be seen today are tombs, with much of the architectural remains of the city waiting to be excavated or already lost, quite literally, to the sands of time. Time, yes. One of the only places where the words of the Nabatean exist is in the inscriptions above the entrances to several of the tombs in Hegra. Like I said, some of these actual carvings are curses, so people living inside does surprise me slightly. But then again, let's find out a little bit more information about this. Obscure though they might be to us now, the Nabataeans were ancient pioneers in architecture and hydraulics, harnessing the unforgiving desert environment to their benefit. Okay. It's interesting to hear that other cultures are much more proficient than, let's just say, the Western world. Yes, we owe a lot of what we know to many other countries indeed. It says down here that rainwater that poured down from the craggy mountains was collected for later use in ground level systems. Just like in Dune itself, collecting the water. So water is life at the end of the day. And when you live in a desert region, collecting that water is very essential indeed. Natural water pipes were built around the tombs to protect their facades from erosion, which have kept them well preserved thousands of years after their construction. Really? Wow, that is super cool. So creating water pipes around the tombs protected them from erosion. That's interesting. No wonder they are so beautiful to look at today. These people were creative, innovative, imaginative, pioneering, says Graf, who has been researching Nabateans since he unexpectedly unearthed some of their pottery in 1980 on an excavation in Georgia. It just blew my mind. I definitely want to go and visit now. If you visited this place, let me know. I did make some posts. If anybody's got any photos, please let me know, because I'd love to have shared them in the video, but not to be. It says Hegra contains 111 carefully carved tombs, far fewer than more than 600 at the Nabatean capital of Petra. But the tombs at Hegra are often in much better condition, allowing visitors to get a closer look into the forgotten civilization. Hegra's oldest tomb is from 1 BC and the most recent from 70 AD, allowing researchers to fill in gaps on the Nabatean timeline through building a clear picture, though building a clear picture is still problematic. Wow, that's actually quite a substantial timeline then. Yeah, but a lot of information is not known. As I said, it's coming from outside. Intimidating inscriptions common on many of the tombs at Hegra but rare at Petra are etched into the facade and warn of fines and divine punishment for trespassing or attempting to surreptitiously occupy the tomb as your own. Okay. Like I said earlier, some people are using them to live in. May the Lord of the world curse upon anyone who disturbs this tomb or open it, proclaims part of the inscription on Tomb 41, and further curse upon whoever may change the scripts on top of the tomb. I think that would be a curse that I would definitely listen to. So let people rest in peace, that's what I say. About 7,000 Nabatean inscriptions have been found throughout their kingdom. Out of that 7,000, only a little over 100 of them have dates. Really? If you have all of these inscriptions but they're not dated, I guess it must be very difficult to identify which scriptures or comments come from what timeline. It can be so diverse. So dating when something happened is definitely a key part of things being remembered. Some tombs at Hegra are the final resting places for high-ranking officials and their families who, according to the writing on the tombs, took the adopted Roman military titles of prefect and centurion to the afterworld with them. Interesting. So when Rome annexed the location, they took on specific roles as part of that new culture. The inscriptions also underscore Hegra's commercial importance on the empire's southern fringes, and the texts reveal diverse composition of Nabatean society. Actually, when you look at the website, which I'll give you a link later, you'll be surprised at how many groups of people are represented within that society. I was very surprised indeed. Like I said, I've not included all of the information here. In the full stories behind many of the tombs remain unknown. Hegra's largest tomb, measuring about 72 feet tall, is the monolithic tomb of Leah, son of Kuza, which is the one you're looking at here, sometimes called Kuza al-Farid, meaning the lonely castle in English, because of its distant position in relation to the other tombs. I wonder why it was positioned so far away. Now, I've seen the water that flows around it, and it does look beautiful, so maybe that's a fact. It was left unfinished with rough, unsmooth chisel marks skirting its lower third. A few tombs were abandoned mid-construction for unclear reasons. The deserted work of Tomb 46 shows most clearly how the spin's built from top to bottom, with only the stepped crown visible. Both the Tomb of the Lion, son of Gaza, and the Tomb 46 have short inscriptions designating them for specific families. Now, I tried to find out which families in more detail, but I couldn't get that information. If you are from Saudi Arabia and you know, let me know, because I have a strong interest in this place now, and I'd love to visit it, both when the ground is dry or wet. This is the web link that I actually got a lot of information from. It's from the Smithsonian mag site, and it relates to their travel aspect. And Hegra, ancient city, Saudi Arabia, untouched for millennia, makes its public debut because it has now been opened to the world. So if you got the chance, why not go and visit? Now, I enjoyed reading about this wonderful place. Saudi Arabia is the location we're going to for the valley this time. It's a chicken valley, as you know, which is nice, but for me, getting this decoration is the cool part, and I can't wait to actually have it. Why not watch the movie so you can actually see it in more detail, or check out the link on the website. Now, speaking of supporting me, please do go to the green box in the game, and it's in the shop. Slide along to the end, type in the code Red Knight, and I will be very appreciative. You could also watch some of my other videos down here. Very soon I will give you the wrapping machine video, which is coming on December the 5th, with all information. I've been waiting till I have it all before I tell you everything. I hate doing things in drips and drabs. You can also subscribe to my channel. That's free. But either way, I'll see you next time. Bye now.